So make a window today. You win, you win, you win. You win, you win, you win. For Biafra. Raffle draw. In Finland. In exile. Raffle Biafra Republic Government in exile present a fantastic raffle game. Biafra Freedom Raffle BFR is a raffle sales in support of Biafra Freedom, which will be drawn and prizes given at the declaration of the independent states of Biafra in Finland between November 29 to December 10, 2024. BFR is for everyone amazing. Raffle prize is $20. Total winning prize $10,000. First prize $5,000. Second prize $3,000. Third prize $2,000. For more information and to participate, click https://biafrarepublicgov.org/raffle. BFR is for 2 months only. Hurry up and buy raffle sales for Biafra Freedom today. Buy for your children and grandchildren. Buy for your relatives, friends. Do your part now, because when we give all our needed support, God crowns us with Biafra we long for. Good luck and happy win. Raffle. Every day, we depend on Ojukwu Kikabiama. So make a window today. You win, you win, you win. You win.
The restoration of Biafra and the defense of Biafra land is a must. No matter what they do, no matter what the enemies are doing, no matter the distraction or the attack, we must continue to defend Biafran territory. Like and share this video. This is Biafra Exodus Hard Talk TV, a platform where we speak on the restoration of independence of Biafra, a platform where we bring updates coming from the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Biafra. Wherever you are watching this program from, I welcome you, I appreciate you, and I thank you for being part of the program. As you are watching, please do not keep the message to yourself alone. Make sure you invite someone to join and be part of this message.
It is about history. It is about politics. It is about power. We will look at the Aburi Accord on this edition of the program. But before the guns began to boom, what happened? What were the issues and the events before the guns began to boom? The guns boomed during the first coup, that is the January 1966 coup. The guns boomed during the counter coup of July 1966. The guns went angry, and a civil war ensued. So we will walk down the history lane, understanding where we are coming from. And as we walk down, we'll be consulting political books to broaden the discourse. I hope you're ready for me. I am ready. I'm already with a book here called On a Darkling Plain, a book written by Saro-Wiwa. I'll come to this book. In my promo of this broadcast, I talked about Max Sulun. He is the author of the book Oil Politics and Violence. In the book, he said that the Aburi meeting of January 1967 evolved into perhaps the best documented constitutional debate of all time. That is profound. He makes the point that that accord discussed fundamental concepts regarding the balance of power between the central and regional governments in a federation. You know that debate is still on. when we say restructuring, we are saying redefine the balance of power between the federal government and the states. And that was the same meeting that was called in Aburi in 1967. Many years after, the discussion is still on the table. As we struggle to contain herdsmen and Boko Haram acts of terrorism, as we fight to arrest the scourge of banditry and insurgency in the southeast, it is important, I state at this point, that social conflict is inevitable in a society. But social conflict is critical to national development, and it originates from human interaction. As far and as long as members of the society continue to interact, there will be conflict. So conflict is part of human society. Be it a poor or rich country, there is the presence of conflict. What stands progressive countries in good stead is their abilities to transform conflict into new opportunities with less use of violence. That was why on Saturday I was not comfortable with the use of violence to deal with communities like Okwama in Delta State. A well-managed conflict is a source of strength to the political process. Aburi Accord was an opportunity to manage the Nigerian conflict. The bane of the Nigerian state is the mismanagement of conflict, thus plunging the country into the valley of despair. It is the failure of leadership. We mismanage conflict. And because of the mismanagement of conflict, our conflicts snowball into insurgencies. You see what is going on in the southeast? It has become an insurgency. A quiet insurgency is already going on in the Niger Delta. Boko Haram terrorism is insurgency. Banditry is also terrorism. It's insurgency. In the plateau, the victims will want to fight back. It becomes another level of insurgency. Having said that, it is important we reflect on the crisis of early post-independence Nigeria, and we look at how Nigeria handled the conflict that plunged it into a devastating civil war. In this case, Aburi Accord easily comes to mind. I have talked about Max Schulin in the book Oil, Politics and Violence, where he said that the Aburi meeting of January 1967 evolved into perhaps the best documented constitutional debate of all time, because it discussed fundamental concepts regarding the balance of power between the central and regional government in a federation. So if that accord was so fundamental to the peace of the state, why was the accord not implemented? And Ojukwu went to town to say, on Aburi we stand, on Aburi we stand. And Gowon says, no, what was signed in Aburi was misinterpreted. And the argument continued, and the war began. The guns began to boom. Ken Saro-Wiwa, Ken was a good author. He was killed by Sani Abacha. Remember Oguni 9. Ken Saro-Wiwa in the book On a Darkling Plain. If you have the book, you can turn to page 61 to 62. The book is a classic. Page 61 to 62. Yes, I'm trying to get to my own page, where he talked about Aburi Accord. So when news came that general agreement has been reached at the cordial meeting in Aburi, there was general elation. Ojukwu returned and spoke in glowing terms of Aburi. I'm reading from Saro-Wiwa's book. Ojukwu had virtually achieved his confederal aims if the decisions of Aburi were implemented. There was little doubt that peace would return to Nigeria. So Saro-Wiwa agrees that if Aburi Accord were implemented, peace would have returned. He says the generality of Igbos were cock a hoop about Aburi. It was inconceivable that an Igbo man would go to bargain with Hausas and fail to win. Why did he make that statement in this book? Look at it. He says, it was inconceivable that an Igbo man would go to bargain with Hausas and fail to win. The non-Igbos, on the other hand, were dismayed. It looked as though the nation had sold them to the Igbos. In Rivers circles in particular, there was great agitation. Some showed their dismay openly. I had a rather hot argument with an Igbo pharmacist on the issue. He made it quite clear to me that the Igbos were in no mood to brook argument on what was fast becoming a life and death issue to them. At the University of Nigeria, Aburi was accepted because Ojukwu had said it was acceptable. Interesting. I just read from On a Darkling Plain, an account of the Nigerian Civil War, a book written by Ken Saro-Wiwa. The book is out of print now. So if you have a copy, you are among the lucky ones. Udara Books has been trying to find copies, but we can't. This is my personal copy, and I just read from it. If you continued reading the book, Saro-Wiwa said Ojukwu charged that Gowon had had a rethink on the matter and that he had gone back on his words. When they came back from Aburi, Ojukwu was very brilliant in Aburi. So he took the Nigerian side to the cleaners. So they accepted all his argument. He was bright. He spoke impeccable English. He went to Oxford University. So Saro-Wiwa said, Ojukwu charged that Gowon had had a rethink on the matter and that he had gone back on his words when they returned to Nigeria. Because of that, Ojukwu went on to publish the proceedings at Aburi. He even played back a recording made of the proceedings of the meeting. I'm trying to get that audio. I used to have it, but I checked my hard drive. It's corrupt. I will get it, the meeting of Aburi, so that you would listen to it. What happened in 1967? Saro-Wiwa in his book said Eastern Nigeria was in ecstasies when Ojukwu returned from Aburi, and Ojukwu's reputation soared. They played back the recordings. I want to see the picture of Ken Saro-Wiwa, because I'm talking about him now. I want to see Ken. I hope you can see the picture of Ken Saro-Wiwa. I'm talking about his book, On a Darkling Plain. His account of what Aburi was. Eastern Nigeria was in ecstasies, and Ojukwu's reputation soared. The playback of the recording showed him as confident, well-spoken, and witty. Ojukwu had obviously done his homework, Saro-Wiwa said. Ojukwu had won in that debate, he continues. According to Ken Saro-Wiwa, Aburi became a cash word in homes, motor parks, markets, and offices. The Aburi recordings were waxed on gramophone records and sold at a high price. They were played and replayed in open places, and soon Aburi's singlet appeared on the street. On Aburi we stand. Aburi is our father. On Aburi we sleep. Aburi or nothing, they sloganized. That is Ken Saro-Wiwa there. The eastern region, governed by Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, believed it was Aburi or nothing. I want us to listen to Ojukwu. Ojukwu here talks about Aburi, and in this talk, pick his words and give meanings to the tone.
The tapes are available. The records are there. In fact, only about 2 weeks ago, I saw a set of the records again. The transcripts are available. But we talked about the Nigerian situation. And certainly, at the end, everybody says, oh, you told them this, you did that. The fact was that our case was so clear. At Aburi, yes, we agreed on area commands for the armed forces. At Aburi, we agreed that the police force would be decentralized. We agreed on those. Yes. We agreed, even to show that we didn't separate, at Aburi we also agreed on a certain revenue formula. That's what happened at Aburi. Aburi again, because I always end up, it sounds odd today, but I always end up by saying I must have been naive, because I believed actually that would be the end. I'll confess to you, when I got back to Enugu, oh yes, I had a party, believing that probably the danger was over. That's what we thought. Until they then began to deny everything. It was the denial of Nigeria that made me publish the tapes of Aburi, because we had insisted that each one should have a set of tapes. Everybody talks about confederation. Go and look at the transcript. There is no time that the word confederation came from my lips.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yes. You know, the power of history. History is alluring. You heard Ojukwu there. There was no time he talked about confederation. He made the point there that he agreed that each region should have its own police. We're not talking about that now. Is that not what we are still debating? So you can understand why Max Hewlin defined Aburi Accord as a fundamental opportunity for peace. That's Ojukwu giving his own side of the story. Yakubu Gowon was the leader of Nigeria. So the negotiation was between Ojukwu and Gowon in Aburi. So let's hear from Yakubu Gowon.
When we came back, and Ojukwu did not go to make the statement he made first, virtually giving the impression that we've agreed for a confederation to move apart, etc., which was really not in exactly that. If I had had the opportunity to make my broadcast in the first, because that was the agreement, not for him to make the broadcast first, then if I had committed myself to what he said, then there wouldn't have been any problem. But he went and said certain things that certainly looked wrong, and therefore we saw in practically everything he did, I think it was for to play up to the gallery, not being sincere. The purpose of this press conference is to enlighten the public on the last Accra meeting of military leaders and to tell the nation where we go from here. Our main concern at the Aburi meeting was how to keep the country together and restore normal conditions. We reviewed the situation in the Nigerian army, and we all agreed that there should be one Nigerian army under a unified command as at present. We recognize that in the context of the events of 1966, the most practical way of achieving this aim is to organize the army into area commands. We did not go to Aburi to write a new constitution for Nigeria. The constitution of Nigeria will be written in Nigeria by Nigerians on the authority of the people of Nigeria. We, however, agreed to return to the status quo ante January 17, 1966. And this is in keeping with my earlier public pronouncements that decrees or part of decrees which tended towards over-centralization should be repealed. We will continue to operate the existing federal constitution and the federal system of government until a new constitution is drawn up. In Aburi, we made an excellent start in the bid for permanent peace, but let us not deceive ourselves that it was possible to solve all Nigeria's problems in the two-day meeting of minds of Nigeria's military leaders. I did say immediately after that conference that Nigeria will definitely remain united. I would never have said so if we went there to fall apart. Nigeria will remain one indivisible country by the will of the people of this country.
Yes, Yakubu Gowon in a news press conference. In a press conference. That was Yakubu Gowon in 1967. He was Nigeria's head of state. I'll be happy to read your comments on the subject. So join the discourse. It's a class for all. There is something to learn from you. So leave your comments as you listen. It is a class of history, politics,